Well, welcome to the new Health Conversation podcast. This podcast is not an infomercial. It's designed to supply you with real medical evidence. We're going to show you why diets are failing us in the long run. Nothing that we'll share with you is an opinion. So welcome everyone to the new Health Conversation podcast. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. And I can tell you that for 20 of those 21 years, despite having written 4 best-selling books, 1,500 lectures all over the world, 20 times on PBS, none of it, zero did it mean to the medical community until this last year when 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies that we're going to discuss today. We're not going to give you any opinions. We don't, and we're not making any claims. We use an original material. We don't make up anything. We don't copy anything. We read from the public record. We're giving you can access any of this information. At any point in time also, you can go free to our website. Let me put it in there for you, the New Health Conversation. And you can go and see the medical evidence that we're going to present for you today. See, I think what makes us so different and unique from the typical people that are, influences is that we only deal in peer-reviewed human trial studies. We don't give you opinions. Opinions shouldn't mean anything to you. They don't mean anything to us. And now with the backing of these peer-reviewed human trial studies, everything has changed. I mean, we have so many medical doctors now that have jumped on board because of the fact that we have these peer-reviewed human trial studies that are so dramatic that, as a matter of fact, if I showed you the before and afters, I literally would get in trouble with TikTok. But if you go to the website, you can see them. You'll see people that lost tremendous amounts of weight with no loose skin. They're not Photoshopped. None of those pictures are Photoshopped. Also, at the New Health Conversation, what can you see? You can see the medical studies. There's an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world who has said now he'll never recommend a traditional diet of lowering calories ever again. Not an opinion on his part, because they're relying now on these new studies. So these researchers, they're the top nutritional researchers in the world for 38 years. For 38 years. They've looked at every diet you could conceive of, and they came to the conclusion that, yes, people could lose weight on any diet. But as it turned out, it was really an unhealthy way to lose weight. We're going to get into all of that today. So again, welcome to the New Health Conversation. If you're just joining us, my name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. 20 of those years, despite 1,500 lectures all over the world, 20 shows on PBS, 4 best-selling books with medical doctors, that didn't mean a thing in the medical world. Now, again, I'm not going to talk you out of anything. I'm not going to disparage anybody. If you have a follower that you're following that's running around 10,000 steps, cut 300 calories, 3 meals to lose weight, go for it. But ask yourself this question. Are any of the people that you're following, and some of them are, with all due respect, medical doctors, chiropractors, dietitians, nutritionists, are they showing you one shred of medical evidence? Not a scientific paper, not an opinion piece, okay? We're talking about what are called peer-reviewed human trial studies. That's all we deal in. So for the new people that are coming on board today, I want to show you that we're going to be talking about why diets are failing us. That's the whole point of today. And we're going to show you the evidence. We're not going to give you opinions. We're not going to make any claims. We're just going to show you the medical differences. So if you're really interested and excited, about at least having an option, let's say it that way. That's probably the main thing that we want to do. We just want to give you an option. Because if you're not on this podcast today, let's face it, can anyone put in the chat for me a diet that doesn't involve lowering calories at some point? Even if you do some of these psychological things like Noom, et cetera, they're psyching you up to eat less food. That's really what it comes down to. But you're going to find out today that really is now been proven to be one of the most unhealthy things you could ever do to yourselves. So the key to all of this is knowing that there's new medical evidence. These 7, I have them right here, 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Again, they're in the public domain, so we're not making claims, okay? I'm not sure what that means, but probably it's not good. But anyway, that's okay. It doesn't matter what you think about me. The only thing that matters is science. It has no age, it has no emotions, it has no prejudgment, it just is. And because we only quote from medical science, nothing else matters. So you can just express whatever opinions you want. You can call me whatever names you want, but it doesn't change the medical facts. We've got 80% of America overweight and 50% of those people are obese. Startup bro, I don't really think this is probably the right podcast for you to be on, but that's just my opinion. You're welcome to stay if you want, but we're not playing games, okay? We're talking about 80% of America overweight, 50% of America pre-diabetic, 45% of Americans are considered to have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. We're in a catastrophe. You can joke about it, you can pretend about it, but okay, there's one right there. The protocol has changed my life. It's a question. I'm curious, good sir. Well, again, honestly, I just hope you'll sit back and just be exposed to the medical proof. I promise you, there's nothing that I'm going to share with you that's an opinion. You shouldn't care about opinions, okay? Opinions, maybe they're interesting for some people, but they have no basis in fact. Where peer-reviewed human trial studies, you can't go any higher than that in medicine, okay? Okay, well, in the study, Startup Bro, okay, men and women, 80% women, 20% men, no one allowed to exercise. Triglycerides came down 25% in 30 days, not 30 weeks, 25%, along with blood pressure, blood sugar. This is not a diet. It's like nothing you've ever done. No, fasting is actually not, unfortunately, I'm going to burst that bubble for you today. Fasting is not the key. If you fast more than about 22 hours, you're really doing incredibly unhealthy things to your body. I will show you the medical proof. I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't want you to think that I'm in any way I'm against fasting or for it. I'm just going to show you the medical evidence, and then you be the judge as to whether you think that opinion you're giving is based on any facts, because it's not, okay? So anyway, I want to welcome all of you to the new health conversation. I'm going to start here in about a minute. My name is Peter Greenlaw. That shouldn't mean anything to you, but I have been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. And 20 of those years, just like the opinions, whether fasting is a key or it's all about balance, or I have had whatever it might be, that meant nothing in the medical world. We had incredible before and after pictures. We had incredible stories, okay? But the medical world relies on peer-reviewed human trial studies. For example, that's why no drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Now, one of the things that I want you to know is you can go to our website. It's totally free. There's no gimmicks. There's no tricks. If you go there, there's nothing to buy. There's nothing but the medical evidence. I'm going to put it up here for you. Sorry. JD, could you just could someone type up the new health conversation for me? I'm fat-fingered today. I'm sorry. I'm concentrating. Okay, well, let's get started. So this is the new health conversation podcast, and what makes it different and why you may want to listen. I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. I've written 4 best-selling books with medical doctors. I've done over 1,500 lectures all over the world and appeared 20 times on PBS. I'm not telling you that to impress you. I want to impress upon you that for 20 of those years, the medical community didn't give a darn about any of that until this last year, when now I'm holding them in my hand. 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies were published in some of the biggest medical journals in the entire world, okay? And today what we're going to do, we're going to contrast these new, which is not a diet. As a matter of fact, the researchers said, not me, it's not my statement. They've said that these new studies will obsolete every diet you've ever been on, heard about, tried, etc. And we're going to show you the medical evidence behind the big diets, from paleo to keto to Mediterranean to time-restricted eating to fasting to you name it. And then you get to make a choice. What are the books? Okay, one is called The New Health Conversation. Then there's the TDOS syndrome, which I'll show you right here. And this, by the way, is not just a book. This is a medical syndrome registered with the U.S. Patent Office. Every one of you on this podcast, every person in the world has this syndrome. I discovered it. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. Then I wrote another book called the TDOS Solutions. And my 4th book was written, all my books were written with MDs, okay? So let's get that out of the way. But my last book was called Your Third Brain. I wrote it with one of the top oncologists in the entire world, who's also a molecular biologist. So this has been a wide range of things. But the main thing that I'm going to explain with all of you is that you can't avoid this, okay? You're breathing, drinking, eating chemicals on a daily basis. Did some of you see the article a couple of weeks ago about Starbucks coffee, that you're getting anywhere between 50 and 100,000 microplastics in every cup of Starbucks coffee? So this is something that none of these diets we're going to share with you today have one shred of medical evidence that they're removing chemicals from the body. Contrasted that with these 7 new peer-reviewed studies, that the primary function of this was to see could they figure out a way to assist our own body in removing the chemicals we're storing, what's called our visceral fat. That's the belly fat. That's why you have such a hard time getting, even if you're down to the last 8 or 9 pounds, that fat around your middle just doesn't go away. Well, in the studies where they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they proved that this was removing the chemicals, and the visceral fat shrank by 33% in 8 weeks with no exercise allowed. Again, I'm not making a claim. I'm just reading from the medical studies, just so you're clear, okay? Now, so again, for the new people, this is the new health conversation. Now, what we're talking about is this revolutionary new discovery that actually is a culmination of 38 years of research into a complete new way, not just to lose weight, but to become healthy. In the studies, the researchers didn't allow anyone to exercise, as a matter of fact. And what happened was that men and women literally lost as much weight in a week as 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in a month, in 30 days, as in 12 weeks of the diets I'm going to share with you in a moment. But here was the difference. Instead of losing water, they didn't. And instead of losing lean muscle, which I'll show you is the outside, especially on a fast for more than 22 hours, the point being that they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise. They even went to the extreme of having them wear like Fitbits to monitor whether or not they were actually exercising or not. So let's get into it. Let's start first with some of the articles now where the big researchers are now saying that what they told us about counting calories was complete. Yeah, but again, I'm afraid, well, just wait till I get done, you guy. I'm not saying, but I will promise you that a great majority of what you lost was your lean muscle mass. Sorry to tell you that. But again, I'm just reading from the medical studies. I mean, maybe in your case, you had some miracle body and that didn't happen. So this first article is why you shouldn't count calories. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict their calories will gain back more weight than they lost. Again, this is not an opinion on ours. This is what's going on. I mean, you've probably seen it. You've gone on a diet, you lost weight, and you gain everything back. And how fast did you gain it back? Now let's go to Harvard Medical School. In this article, it's titled, Stop Counting Calories. Again, not our opinion, okay? This idea of a calorie in and a calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, an obesity specialist, assistant professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, says Stanford. It's time to take a different approach, putting the emphasis on what's in the calorie, not the amount of calories you're consuming. Very important point. What they're saying is that counting calories, as it turns out, is probably one of the most unhealthy things you can do. Here's why. The body doesn't care about calories. The body doesn't count calories. Maybe you're counting calories. Only thing the body cares about. Yeah, you're probably right, Lobster Johnson. But let me finish this point before I forget it. You lose my train of thought. Okay, so let's talk about a diet and let's talk about calories. Well, first of all, the human body doesn't know what a calorie is and doesn't count calories. So let's get that out of the way. Let's just assume if we want to lose weight, we're going to consume less food, whatever the methodology, fasting, keto, paleo, whatever, okay? But what they never tell you, what I've never heard them say, is talk about that when you lower the amount of food you consume, you're also lowering nutrition. And because your body only runs on nutrition, it doesn't give a darn about calories, okay? When you drop below a certain level, the body realizes there's not enough nutrition. It freaks out, goes in starvation mode, and goes looking for nutrition. Where's the densest part of nutrition in our body? Our organs, brain, kidney, liver, heart. But it starts in our muscles. So it breaks your muscles down for fuel. But it's so inefficient that two of the most unhealthy things you're doing to yourself that maybe you didn't even realize. As you lose lean muscle mass, what the body has to do to compensate for the lack of fuel, basically, it slows down your metabolism. But not just your metabolism like when you're running or working out, but what's called your basal metabolic rate. That's the rate at which you burn calories when you're resting or sleeping or sitting at your desk, okay? But the second thing it does is even more frightening, and that is it absolutely decreases the ability of your immune system to function at the highest level. If we've learned anything in the last 5 years, our immune system is really important. So yes, you might fit in your skinny jeans. You might lose 30, 40 pounds, but you're going to see all the evidence I'm going to show you in a moment that up 30 to 40% of what you're losing, it doesn't matter what the diet is lean muscle mass. That's not an opinion on our part. That's actually part of these medical studies. Now let's take a look. One of the big trends now is this time restricted eating, where you only eat for 16 hours and you eat for 8. Big study in the Journal of the American Medical Association, okay? Here's what they said. Now, this is real medical proof. This isn't speculation. This isn't an opinion. This isn't a claim, okay? I'm reading from the study, okay? Listen to what they said. Journal of the American Medical Association's new research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily, eating all their meals between noon and 8, popularly known as the 16-8 diet, gained almost no benefit from it. They went on to say, over the course of 3 months, people lost between 2 and 3.5 pounds, but most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. See, the problem is you go more than about 20, what happens in the body in fasting, okay? The body, it takes about 23 hours to burn through the glycogen, code word for sugar stored in your liver. Well, once that occurs, the body is now down to 2 sources of energy, muscle and fat, okay? Well, in the studies, what they proved, if you go beyond about 23, 24 hours, your body will ignore the fat and burn muscle. It's medical proof. Let's not rely on just one. No, Matthew, I just read to you. Works best when the majority of what people lost was lean muscle mass. Works best? Are you kidding me? I mean, man, this is the medical proof. But let's go to Harvard Medical School. The New England Journal of Medicine, another study on 16-8 and calorie reduction. 12 months on calorie reduction group, and the other group was time-restricted eating. Okay, the group that lowered calories lost 16 pounds in a year, and the people who went on time-restricted eating, 12.6 pounds in a year. But again, in the study, this is New England Journal of Medicine. This isn't Peter Greenlaw's opinion. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just sharing the data. Listen to this. Both the time-restricted eating and daily caloric restriction diets led to the loss of lean muscle mass. That's what you're losing on time-restricted eating. And guess what's going to happen? You stop it, you're going to gain all the weight back so fast it'll make your head spin. These are not opinions, okay? Every one of these diets now, there's another big one in here based on lowering carbohydrates. We've all heard about low-carb diets. Wait till you hear, this is done in Nutrients. You can read the title. They said exposure to low-carbohydrate diets is associated with reductions in muscle mass and increased osteoporosis risk in obese individuals. What? They go on to say, reduced muscle mass is an established risk factor for osteoporosis and has been associated with functional impairment in obese individuals. Again, I'm not going to talk anybody anything. If you want to do calorie reduction, if you want to do carbs, if you want to do time-restricted eating, if you want to do fasting, just understand what you're up against, okay? Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad, Guy, you brought that up. Let me read to you from this is a really good book. I didn't write it, okay? The New American Diet, written by Stephen Perrin. I'm going to wait till you hear, you've mirrored what they said in here. They said, the more nutrition you give your body, the fewer calories it wants to eat, and the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. Let me repeat that. The more nutrition you give your body, the fewer calories it wants to eat, and the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. Well, okay, let's come back to these 7 peer-reviewed studies that are right here, comparing to, all the diets out there, right? Okay, first thing, the people in these studies consume more calories than any of the diets they compared against. These people, they lost as much weight in 7 days as time-restricted eating, keto, paleo, Mediterranean, and instead of losing lean muscle mass, which I just showed you is the outcome of all these diets, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise. They shrank visceral fat in 8 weeks by 33%, but they lowered blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol. Doc Kavanaugh, who conducted and funded the studies. It was done by... I'm not sure of the group okay, so let's talk about that, Doc, because this comes up a lot, okay? if you're talking about a peer-reviewed human trial study, we're talking about something completely different than like a scientific paper that is funded. You'll hear a lot of times on television, they say, well, we had a scientific study. They produce it themselves. When you agree to do a peer-reviewed human trial study and you submit to it, then you give up all rights to any interaction. The idea behind a peer-reviewed human trial study is to discredit what you're trying to prove, okay? And when you're talking about 7 different medical journals, it's not just published in one, okay? Each one of these journals makes a decision based on the data. If it's going to get published in their journal, they don't review it. They send it out to other world-class experts. Why is it that you don't see any of these supplement companies on TV? None of them have peer-reviewed human trial studies. Because again, when they went to back up what they're proving, they'd find it's not real. I mean, these they don't sell anything. They're not involved in that. They're independent. They've been looking at diets for 38 years, looking for the silver bullet. All I can tell you is you can go to our website for free. You'll see it right there. Hold on. Not only can you see the studies, you'll see an interview with the world's #1 nutritional researcher who conducted the studies and there it is right there for details, the New Health Conversation. I mean, I get this a lot, okay? Somebody has to fund whatever the study is, but there's no prejudice involved. You gotta see, that's a huge misconception that's out there in the marketplace. Like even the drug companies, they have to submit to peer review. That's the whole point. Otherwise, they just bring their drugs out with no intervention. Thank goodness we have peer-reviewed studies, okay? But let me continue on what was so different in these studies. Number one, the researchers, having looked at diets for 38 years, realized one thing, that every diet they tested, people lost weight. But up to 40% of what they were losing was lean muscle mass. And the minute the people stopped the diet, like a fast, keto, paleo, look at America, 80% of Americans are overweight, 50% are obese, 50% are pre-diabetic. Does anybody think diets really are working? And that's what these researchers, they figured out what didn't work. What didn't work was putting people on regular food, including organic, and lowering the amount of food, which lowered the amount of nutrition. So the protocol they put together was based on what they'd learned over 38 years about what didn't work. So what was the first thing they had to do? Well, first of all, they limited, the people consumed 40% of their food was from the grocery store or from, organic, whatever. But the other 60% came from foods all over the world, from as far away as Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, Tibet, in the Himalayas, literally from Nepal, from South America, New Zealand. Now, they used those because those foods, or the foods they found, had massive amounts of nutrition, regardless of the calories. And that's why, like this quote from this book, the researchers realized, let's quote, the more nutrition you give the body, the fewer calories it wants to eat, and the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. So 2 things in the study that were remarkable. One, in 30 days, hunger went down by 41%. And there were people in there that needed to lose 150 pounds. So this wasn't just, somebody that needed to lose 15 or 20 pounds. But the other part of it that was so unbelievable was the other fact that in the studies, the people, because they were comparing these people in these studies to one of the diets they compared it to was the Mediterranean diet, which, by the way, has been the #1 diet for 7 years in a row. These people consume more calories than the people in the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet, in 8 months, people lost 10.2 pounds. Here, men and women with no exercise lost 16 pounds in a month. And instead of losing lean muscle mass, gained 6 to 9. This is all in the public record. It's not something I can make up. And if you go to the website, you'll see the medical studies. You'll see the breakdowns of how much blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides. Inflammation went down 25% a month. But they also, the thing that was so amazing, this is filmed in 1988. This is real. This is live. It's not Memorex. I'm not AI. I had somebody say that earlier today. Is this recorded? No, it's real. It's 1:30 p.m. in Denver, Colorado, 7/12/2024. So no, I'm a real person, and maybe you want me to go away. But look, our goal is to share with you and give you a choice, and that's it. If you want to stick with your belief about fasting or keto or paleo or Mediterranean or Cornish, you can do any of those diets. We're not going to talk you out of it, but we at least want to give you the opportunity. That's what we're doing. We're giving you an opportunity. You can go to the website. You can see it there, the New Health Conversation. Now, not only if you go there, will we not contact you, 100% guarantee we will not contact you. But if you do go there, you can sign up for a free consultation. Now, what's the consultation look like? Well, we don't know anything about you. What if you want to gain weight? What if you want to lose weight? What if you've got any medical challenges going on? We're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any diseases. Let's get that out of the way. But what we will do is we'll give you a realistic assessment of what your goal is and how you might be able to achieve it. Look, we've been doing this for 21 years, but I will say it was only in the last year when we had the peer-reviewed medical studies that medical doctors now are coming to this in droves, because it's when you have a peer-reviewed human trial study, it's irrefutable. That's why that's why you won't see. Have you seen any influences on any of the social media platforms showing you peer-reviewed human trial studies? I haven't. Doesn't make them bad. They're telling you what they think they know. But the new science is so overwhelming to say, why in the world are we still archaic counting calories? I read to you from, Harvard Medical School, stop counting calories. Drop the calories notion, says Dr. Stanford. It's time to take a different approach by putting the emphasis on what's in the calorie, not how many calories we're consuming. That's exactly what they did in these medical trials. Now, they couldn't just do 100% of the food from the United States, sadly. So they did have to go around the world. Now, what's one of the things you're the most deficient in? This may be new to some of you, and that's what are called ultra or trace ionic minerals. Now, you've heard of iron, calcium, magnesium. We actually need about, according to the experts, we need like 70 of these minerals, things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and molybdenum, etc. In the best organic tested, not an opinion, you get about 15 to 20 minerals. Well, one of the first things that the researchers, they found a source that gave all 70 minerals, all 70, not 20. Okay, so obviously if your body needs 70 and you're getting 20, you see, we're basically, I think, and I don't say this to be disrespectful, you have no idea how bad you actually feel right now because you don't understand how good you could feel if you got these massive amounts of nutrition. Now, granted, you can't just run down here. They still use about 40% of the food from this country. So, because there still is nutrition, obviously, in our food, but the amount has gone down. Okay, now, so the other thing was they had two completely different ways of consuming food. One is called protein pacing. And the other one, this will be strange, I'm not misspeaking, intermittent nutritional fasting, not time-restricted eating, okay? And what they were able to do, because they found these incredibly dense nutrition foods, they could put people literally into a fast, but with nutrition. And that's why the people didn't lose any lean muscle at all. They gained let alone losing, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. I mean, aren't you just a little bit curious? A little bit? And yet you can go to that website. It's free. We will not contact you if you go there. I promise you, we're too busy. We don't need to convince people, okay? What we would invite you to do is if you go to the website, there's no celebrity endorsements. There's nothing to buy there. You'll see the medical evidence. You'll see an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world. You'll see a much more detailed breakdown of what they actually did. It's called the Blueprint for Success, which is really a virtual coaching system that you would get if you did decide to do it. But a couple more things that are pretty incredible. #1, once you've looked at everything, you can sign up for a free consultation. And I mean free. No gimmicks, no tricks, no bait and switch, not trying to talk you in or out of anything. But can anybody tell me how we could possibly think that diets are working when we have 80% of America overweight, according to the CDC, 50% obese? But here's the thing that should scare everybody. In 2018, 6 years ago, 42% of the population was obese. Now it's 50%. So it's gone up about 24% in just 6 years. There are projections now within less than 20 years, close to 100% of America is going to be overweight. And yet, what do we keep doing over and over and over? See, there it is, the New Health Conversation. That's the website. You can go there if you want or not. I would say this. You have nothing to lose by going there because it's just another option. But it's an option that's backed by 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Now let's get a little bit deeper into one of the other things that you need to be aware of. Well, yeah, that's probably true. Okay, this syndrome, TDOS. See, this is the thing that we all need take note of, okay? The fact we're storing herbicides and pesticides and chemicals inside our body, it's not up for debate. And again, the chemicals now have a name. Again, I'm going to reference it back to the New American Diet, where they talk about these chemicals now that have a name. They're actually called, wait till you hear this, they're called obesogens. Here's what they say. Obesogen, that's a scary word and one you've probably never heard before. But if you want to lose weight and keep it off for good and protect your body, your family, and your environment in the bargain, you'll need to understand the term. Simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal systems, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. Obesogens are altering the function of our genes and essentially reprogram us to gain weight. What are you doing about obesogens? What diet are you going on to get rid of obesogens? You're not. Because none of the diets that I showed you even so far, their main emphasis is losing weight. I mean, don't we think when you hear the word diet, isn't that synonymous with losing weight? It's not synonymous with getting healthy. Now, again, I want to reference back to this study is sort of the granddaddy of them all. This is the Journal of the American Medical Association. The title is Comparison of Weight Loss Among Named Diet Programs. So what did they do here? They looked at, they're right in the study. Jenny Craig Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Paleo, Keto, Mediterranean Fasting, Time-Restricted Eating, the Cornish Diet, Lose Weight for Your Blood Type, the Zone Diet, the DASH Diet, on and on and on. They ended up looking at 48 different studies. Not one study, 7,286 people. What they found was pretty eye-opening. After 12 months, not 12 weeks, the weight loss difference between the most amount of weight lost and the least amount of weight lost in 12 months was about 10 ounces. And the average weight loss over the course of a year was about 16 pounds, consistent with the New England Journal of Medicine study I just showed you a few minutes ago. So the point is, you can believe whatever influences you want to believe. But honestly, because I fought that battle for 20 years, unless they have peer-reviewed human trial studies, then they're giving you an opinion and they're not giving you any facts. I mean, how excited would you be if you could safely lose as much weight in 7 days as in 8 weeks of any diet, instead of losing lean muscle mass, gaining lean muscle? How about lowering your blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all in a 30-day period of time? Inflammation went down 25% in a month. Hunger went down 41%. They shrank their visceral fat 33% in a month. That wasn't the big deal. What was so amazing was that all these medical sort of things. I'll give you an idea. So there were diabetics in the studies, monitored by their medical doctors. So if you know much about, and thank goodness we have diabetic medication, things like, well, even the shots now, Ozempic, and those are really diabetic medication, but glucophage, metformin, insulin, right? So what happens with the drug, it forces the blood sugar down by forcing the sugar into the cells. But every time that happens, insulin goes up. And when insulin goes up, what does it do? It blocks any other form of energy, but it stores fat. That's why diabetics have so much trouble losing weight. Well, in the studies, it's right in the study, you can read it. The blood sugar came down 10 points, but for the first time ever, insulin came down 41% in I think it was 8 weeks, but it doesn't matter. It's remarkable. They've never seen anything like this. This will sound strange. The main reason to do this or consider is not to lose weight, because we have a lot of people who want to gain weight. We have kids as young as 2 and grandmas in their 90s. Those are completely different scenarios. That's why we believe by offering you a free consultation, it's the only way to do this, because it's not like one size fits all. It really does depend. Are you on any medication? I mean, we have a gentleman right now that had a heart transplant about 6 months ago. And he's 60, 70 pounds overweight. And obviously that's a real challenge. Well, he's thriving. We've had a couple of people with kidney transplants. We've had any number of things, No, it's not hard at all. Okay, let's see. Thanks for the compliments. I don't know if I deserve it, but that's okay. I do like the mountains though. But listen, everyone, you understand that in a few minutes, you could go and have your eyes really open to the possibilities. I know it's hard to believe that you could literally be looking at safe weight loss in like a 12th of the time. The other study that I want to point out to you is literally, I have it right here, so you don't think I'm making up anything. This is a study. So this is the Mediterranean diet, which has been the #1 diet 7 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. Okay, in this study, 8 months, the weight loss was 10.2 pounds in 8 months. But again, the majority of the weight loss was lean muscle mass. So you could extrapolate out 8 months, 10.2 pounds. So at 12 months, it's probably going to be close to 14 to 16 pounds, consistent with everything else. Now, I'm not saying that people, maybe they go, like we had someone, I'm not sure who it was, that said they lost 40 pounds by fasting. Congratulations. But what percentage of that fat loss was your lean muscle mass? Just salad, tomatoes, and bread. No, sorry, that doesn't work. Look, the thing I want to share with all of you, okay, the researchers, after 38 years of research, honestly, they looked at about every, as they said, diet scheme out there in 38 years. They really never, but here's the thing that they taught me that was just amazing, okay? On the diets that they did, this is a term I want you all to understand. In every group, on every diet, they had what are called non-responders, meaning people literally went on these diets and lost like no weight, 0. In these new studies, for the first time in 38 years, nobody didn't respond. There was nobody that didn't have amazing results. And that wasn't just about weight loss. Because, as I said, people, blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, they all came down. They've never seen anything like that. So that's the problem. You've heard it. I know people, and I'm not against the shots, so don't even hear me say that. But there are people on the shots I know that did it for 2 months, didn't lose any weight. There's other people that have done it for 2 months and they've lost, 8 or 10, 20, whatever it is. But the principle is pretty simple. Flood the body with massive amounts of nutrition, regardless of how many calories. Because back to this great quote in this is one of the best quotes I ever heard in this book, The New American Diet. He's probably going to sell a lot of diets because of my podcast, and that's fine. But they said right here, the law, they call it the new laws of leanness, right? They say the New American Diet is the cure for the old American diet, the diet that's led more than 1 in 3 Americans to become overweight or obese. And this book's a little bit old. It's not updated. It's 80% now. And they just said the more nutrition you give your body, the fewer calories it wants to eat, and the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. Imagine you can consume more calories and lose weight 12 times faster than any diet. You know that it's torture to go on a diet and lower the calories. And I know they mean well. I see these influencers and they go, oh, we're going to show you how to, mentally and whatever, and make your list. And I mean, some of the things are okay, like, drink a lot of water, absolutely important. But at the end of the day, I see, well, a nutrition flood would be things I'll tell you. One of them is getting 70 trace ionic minerals. The other thing that I'll explain to you, the human body needs amino acids. There are 20 amino acids that are available. 9 are essential. You have to get them from your diet. 11 are non-essential, okay? So one of the biggest misconceptions out there, and you'll see the influencers tell you, we're going to show you how to have 120 or 150 grams of protein a day. So you're assuming, okay, I'm getting 120, 150 grams of protein a day. Not so fast. In Europe, about 9 years ago, they developed a new test called net nitrogen utilization. In English, what does it mean? It means when you ingest protein, which is the only way you get amino acids, not from fats, not from carbohydrates, just from protein, through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they determined whether the protein was from a plant or an animal, what percentage from 0 to 100 was being absorbed inside the body. Now we're going to talk about the nutritional flood in just a moment. Okay, so, and I don't mean to make my vegan friends, maybe you're not my friends, and you won't be after I tell you this. I'm just giving you the science. So something like a pea protein, when they analyzed it, the absorption of the 20 amino acids was only 10%. 90% was toxic waste. And meat was 30%, whether it was steak, chicken, liver, halibut, trout, whatever, 30%, right? Now, the key to building muscle in the body is not just lifting weights and resistance training. You need one of the 20 amino acids, or the primary one, I should say, is leucine. That's why you'll see bodybuilders consume 1 to 2 ounces or a gram of protein for every pound they weigh, because they're trying to get more of the amino acids, but in particular leucine, okay? Well, what they don't understand, that if they're doing that conventionally with, for example, steak, chicken liver, they're only getting, so if they consume, let's say they consume 200 grams of protein in a day, they're really only getting 60 grams that the body's making, meaning 140 grams, the kidneys have to get rid of the waste. And what's the waste? They're called nitrogen catabolites. It's urea, creatine, ammonia, and glucose, all right? So in the studies, they were able to find sources, talked about the nutritional flood, with a 91% absorption rate. That's why with no exercise at all, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise at all. But then it was also the way they consumed it. So protein pacing. It wasn't just that they were ingesting protein. It was how, when, and what sequence, when they ate at certain times. Complete different approach. And that was like 5 days a week. And then 2 days a week, they did what's called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not time-restricted eating, but, et cetera. So, I mean, hopefully, just the other guy, hopefully that makes sense to you. The reason that, and keep in mind, that's why also they could consume more calories. But it didn't matter because those calories were so efficiently burned, and they lost weight 12 times faster than any diet where the people were lowering their calories, but they had ignored the nutritional density. That's the key to the whole thing. The key is nutritional density. And sadly, our food in this country continues. Well, yeah, it's not the, well, okay. Yeah, let me support you in what you're saying. In Europe, before this test, net nitrogen utilization, we didn't know what the absorptions were, okay? Now we know that, as I told you, like a pea protein is 10%, all meats are 30%. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah, well, of course, look, 9 are essential, meaning you got to have them, but you have to get them from an outside source. And the other 11 are non-essential, but obviously we still use them, right? So, and that's any protein that you want to ingest. You're going to get all 20 amino acids. But what the breakdown comes was what percentage, 0 to 100, are you actually able to consume? That's why it's so important that you understand that you have an incredible opportunity to change everything. Now, I should say something else. The researchers weren't against exercise. They just didn't want exercise to be part of the studies because they knew it. They thought anyway, if they could give people 91% of all 20 amino acids, but particularly leucine, that they didn't know for sure. You got to understand when they started, they had never done anything like this before. Their primary goal was, could we up the detoxification sort of machinery in the human body? And that's really kind of what they were able to prove, right? But no, you don't have to be quiet. No, please. I love you're not doing anything wrong. It helps me because I don't know what people think, et cetera. And I keep posting it so you can go to our website. We're very proud of it. And the thing we're the proudest of, we're not going to harass you if you go there. We don't need to do that because we have all this medical proof on our side. Does that make sense to everyone? It's not about convincing people. It's about you get to choose. You get to see with your own eyes. And then you can sign up for a free consultation if you want. You don't have to. Like, if you go to the website, there's no, we're holding, if you don't sign up for a free consultation, we're not going to tell you. The reason for the consultation is we can't, there's so many variables, we couldn't possibly just put that on a web page. Like if you want to gain weight or lose, what if you're an athlete? What if you're 90? What if you're 2 years old? What if you, maybe do have some challenges, or maybe you just want some more energy, or maybe you're just curious, or you just want to get your questions answered, right? That becomes the real underlying part of this whole thing. So I hope that, I hope your page goes viral, but this is the clip. Well, that's really nice of you to say that. And for all of you, understand, I appreciate your input, your feedback. The one thing I'll promise you is you will not get an opinion from Peter Greenlaw. You won't get opinions from any of our advisors that if you signed up for a free consultation that will assist you. But for the new people coming on, what we've been talking about in this podcast is this: why diets are failing us, because they are. Well, ironic you say that, Seas of Wonder, because fulvic acid is one of the ingredients, and is one of the ingredients that literally comes from the Himalayas in Tibet, and was the original finder of that particular substance, is the one that was the chemist who put this together years ago. So yes, I'm a huge fulvic acid. Oh, they're wonderful. Okay, just amazing. Welcome aboard, D. This is, you can see, this is what we're talking about. Why diets are failing us. We're talking about traditional diets where you're losing weight. I went over, study after study, but let me just read. This is from Harvard Medical School. Title is "Stop Counting Calories." This is the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist at Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, said Stanford. It's time to take a different approach, putting the emphasis on improving what's in the calorie, not how many calories we're consuming. That's what we've been going over. We've also been going over the fact that on traditional diets, when you look at the medical proof, and that's what we've done so far on this podcast today, only medical proof, not opinions. Well, I don't thank you, unknown, for being on the podcast. Look, somebody, I think, has to at least be willing to take the pot shots that people take at me. It's okay, I've been doing this 21 years. I've written 4 best-selling books. I'm used to critics. I'm used to all that. And I would say for 20 years, like everybody else you're looking at on social media, I had opinions. I had before and after stories, etc. But it didn't mean a thing until we... No, leucine is an amino acid. It has nothing to do with the minerals. It's an amino acid. Those are two completely different things. But the 70, like I said, the minerals are like beryllium and boron, molybdenum. I mean, it's really the periodic table without plutonium and uranium. That wouldn't be too good. I'm serious. But it's part of, look, the key to why, and for the new people coming on, what we have been showing you is dramatic. 7 new peer-reviewed studies. No one allowed to exercise. 80% women, 20% men, and they lost, on average, as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in 30 days as a year on any diet. And for the new people, we invite you again to go to our website. It's totally free. It's called I'm going to put it up here, Health Conversation, because I think we really need one. And if you go there, we won't contact you, excuse me. But if you do go there and you like what you see, you can sign up for a free consultation. No gimmicks, no tricks. We're not convincing people. That's not our job. We're researchers. So what we're doing is we're showing you the research on traditional diets, okay, which with 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% of Americans pre-diabetic. Does anyone think this is over? I mean, don't you want to know why diets are failing us? Because what else are you going to do? You're waiting for the new topic. You're waiting for the new name. But again, please, anybody, put in the chat any diet that you can name that's not based on lowering calories, except this is not a diet. For the new people, these people consume more calories than any of the diets they were compared against. They lost weight 12 times faster than anybody on a conventional diet. Instead of losing lean muscle, which was the case on every diet, I showed you that, the medical evidence, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, lost no water. So that old thing about losing weight too fast on a diet, total in agreement. This is not a diet. This is completely... I don't. I'm not, no, I don't. I'm sorry for that, Caesar Wonder. Look, I can't know everything. There's so many things out there. All I can tell you is, again, that the thing that I think we should rely on is science now. We've tried everything else. We've tried celebrity endorsements. We've had fitness trainers. We've had doctors. We've had all kinds of people giving us all advice on how to lose weight. But it's a catastrophe. In 2018, 42% of the American population was obese. This year, it's 50%. That's a 24% increase in just 6 years. How are we doing? You look at all the numbers, they're just going straight up. Starting back, actually, it all started back in the 30s when we introduced what? Processed food. But then what we also introduced over the course of that 80 or 90 years were chemicals. We have 80,000 chemicals in commercial use in North America. 2% have ever been tested for what they do to us. It's about 1,600 chemicals. So for the new people, you weren't here when we talked about the TDOS syndrome. This is a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. So it's up there with metabolic syndrome or syndrome X. What does TDOS stand for? The T is for toxicity, the D is for nutritional deficiency, the O for being overweight, and the S for stress. See, we're breathing, we're drinking, we're eating chemicals every day, whether you know it or not, right? What is it you are sharing? What I was sharing, I see these 7 peer-reviewed studies of this. It's not a diet. It really, how's the best way to explain it? It facilitates the body's own ability to remove chemicals from the body. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. No diet has ever shown even 1 gram of toxin leaving the body. So the main reason, now the researchers, they didn't anticipate all these other benefits. They certainly didn't expect the weight loss. But again, men and women with no exercise, they lost as much weight in 30 days as a year on any diet and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. So there was a reason for it. This was after 38 years of looking at every diet out there and figuring out what didn't work. Because every diet they ever tested, people lost weight. It wasn't up for debate. But the weight they were losing was lean muscle mass. And the minute they came off the diet, they gained everything back. It's not a supplement. No, it's way more complicated than that, okay? Seas of wonder, with all due respect. What I would, for your own benefit, I don't want you to believe me, but you can go to our website. You can see it there, the New Health Conversation. You can see all the medical proof. There's an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world for the last 38 years. You also have a rundown. And if you like what you see, then you can sign up for a free consultation. You don't have to sign up for a free consultation to see all the medical proof. It is nothing like anything you've ever done before. It's nothing like anybody's ever done before. It is not a diet. Let's start with that. I mean, basically because they consumed more calories than anybody on any of the diets, but they didn't base it on calories. They based it on nutritional density. And they had to go around the world to find foods that still had tremendous amount. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I'm not trying, honestly, Seas of Wonder, we set up the website for people that really want medical proof. They want to see it. So instead of us giving you a bunch of promises and nonsense, we show you the medical proof. It's free to go there. I promise we will not, if you go there, we won't contact you. We set it up that way. Only way we'll contact you is if you like what you see and you're still you're curious, then you can sign up for a free consultation. Because again, Seas of Wonder, we don't know anything about you. Do you want to gain weight? Do you want to lose weight? We don't know how old you are. Are you exercising? Are you having trouble sleeping at night? Stress, whatever it might be, okay? And we treat it really seriously. I guess I don't understand how these other influencers that I'm seeing on social media are, well, here are 3 recipes to lose weight. Really? What if you're diabetic? Is that the same recipe as someone that has high blood pressure or high cholesterol? It's not that. It's not some lotion, potion, pill, or supplement. It isn't. It's a system. If I was to describe what it really is, it's a quality of life system, if that makes sense to me. So quality of life system. And like I was telling you before, the researchers who conducted these studies are the #1 research team for weight loss and wellness and health for 38 years. So they've been looking for the silver bullet for a long time. And they said they found it and they have the medical proof behind it. But the thing that's so important about it is the fact that it's not totally simple. It isn't. But that's what gives it its uniqueness. Because simple is what we've been doing. Just cut your portion sizes. Only eat 8 hours a day and don't eat for 16 hours. It's not that simple. Because again, we know now, based on the proof, they used new methods. One method was called protein pacing, where people ate over a long period of time, but it was how much they ate, in what sequence, and when. That's all you'd get taught, all that, right? It's a totally different way of consuming food. And then on 2 days a week, the participants in the studies did 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast, not a fast, not time-restricted eating, nutritional fasting. And even that was very specific timelines, when they consumed, what they consumed, etc. But the bottom line is that we now have something that is just, people can't believe that anything like this even exists. But the reason you can believe is because you got the peer-reviewed medical studies. And as I said before, the researchers weren't against exercise, but they wouldn't let anybody exercise in the studies because they didn't want that to be a factor. And what they found, it stunned them because they thought, well, if we can prove that this helps the body to detoxify. See, every night when we all went to sleep, as long as we don't eat too late, the body automatically, once you go to sleep, shuts down digestion for the most part. Then it automatically, with us doing anything, it has this magnificent, detox engine, okay? I'll give that. Let me finish this point first, Seas of Wonder. So the point is that the body, that's called autophagy, by the way. Every night, I call it taking the trash out. It's when the body gets rid of the dead cells. Also, it's when we build growth hormone and do repair, etc. And say something like time-restricted eating, the reason it's so, well, the medical studies point out why it's so ineffective. Because the point is, if you go during your nighttime sleep, you're using tremendous amounts of nutrition to fuel the body's detox mechanism, which happens every single night. So when you wake up in the morning, for the most part, you're nutritionally bankrupt. So if you wait until 8 to eat again until noontime, guess what your body's going to do? It's going to use your muscles for fuel. And although you may lose weight on time-restricted eating, you're going to gain it all back. Not my opinion, based on the studies. I mean, in the one study, Journal of America, 3 months, people lost 2 to 3.5 pounds. And they said most of the weight they lost was not fat, but lean muscle. That's one of the biggest medical journals in the world. That's not an opinion. See, that's what we want to do for all of you. Make it available. Not opinions, not advertising, not come-ons. I mean, it sounds great. Yeah, I know. But that's what's going on, right? So the point being that this is a major, major breakthrough. The researchers, they're getting calls from all over the world, from world-class people at Harvard Medical School, people in England, people in South America, people in, Japan, saying this is unbelievable. It's not a diet. Now, although weight loss on this is 12 times faster, they're gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, losing no water, shrinking their visceral fat by 33% in 8 weeks. But the reason that's occurring is the body, and he was asking about, what's intermittent nutritional fasting. On those days, they're consuming, how can I explain it to you? Basically, it's kind of like, it's liquid nutrition. So it has nothing to do with calories. It has to do with really not engaging the digestive tract very much at all. I mean, this is what they prove. For example, in what they're getting, they get 70 minerals. They're getting botanicals. They're getting, everything that we need, but in very few calories. So there's very little processing for the digestive tract to have to do. And what's the result is unbelievable. And remember, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. So this is not an opinion. They proved it unequivocally that people were basically transforming themselves in 30, 60, 90. I mean, there were people that needed to lose 150 pounds on this. So it wasn't just people that, like I said, the average was 16 pounds in a month. But there were people that lost, obviously, an awful lot more weight than that. If you go to the website, you can see the before and afters. And I know you think it's... Okay, hold on just a second. Hopefully I didn't lose you. Well, maybe I did. I'm sorry if I did. Okay, season 1, 150. Are you saying that you need to lose 100? Just so I'm clear, Season Wonder, are you... See, but Season Wonder, that's exactly why we do a free consultation with you, because we do have people that need to lose 150 pounds. But I'm not sure about the 150 pounds. Maybe you can clarify that for me so that we're not losing track or whatever it is. Just started watching you. You certainly caught my interest. Does quantity of water? Yeah, water is important to give you an idea. You would want to be drinking just normally, but certainly if you're on a day when it's called intermittent nutritional fasting, you want a minimum of not a minimum, half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you want 100 ounces of water, because what happens with this, it's called intermittent nutritional fasting. It's not a fast, it's not time restricted eating. But the body, we're storing chemicals in our fat cells. It's not up for debate. We know it now in over 1,000 studies, and it's called the TDOS syndrome. It's a medical syndrome. I happen to discover it. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. It stands for toxicity, driven by the D as nutritional deficiency, overweight, and stress. And so that's what the researchers really set out to do in these 7 new peer-reviewed studies. Now, they were the top weight loss nutrition researchers in the world for 38 years. But they just got frustrated because every diet they put people on, a lot of what they lost was lean muscle mass, and then they gain everything back. No. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I said someone needed to lose 150 pounds. I can't, if I told you on TikTok how long it took, I'd get banned. I'm not kidding you. But you can go to the website, or we'll tell you. We had people that, no, I can't tell you. I don't want to get in trouble. I really don't. And I know you think that I'd be making it up anyway. So I'm sorry that what I meant to say, there were people who needed to lose 150 pounds. Were there people who lost 100? Again, go to the website, look at what's there, sign up for free consultation, and then they can share with you the actual results. But all I can tell you is no one's ever seen this kind of weight loss in 4 decades of research, not even close. Basically, here's a way to think about it. On average, they lost weight 12 times faster than any diet that was compared to. And it was compared pretty much to all the diets out there, because the researchers, they've been doing diet research for 38 years, so they had a pretty big database, right? And they were shocked. And again, I don't know how many times I can tell all of you, it's not a diet. It doesn't work that way, right? So why are they doing this? Hold on just a second here. How do you know I have grandkids, Mr. White? Yeah, actually, I have 4 grandkids, to be quite honest with you. I didn't see that comment before, so I'm sorry. I'm just getting back to you now. No, I do a lot of consultations on a daily basis. I'm proud of the fact to say I work 7 days a week, because there's a lot of questions. Now, we have a bunch of very qualified advisors. If you go to the website, you're not going to talk to someone on an 800 number that's trying to sell you something, bait and switch, any of that nonsense. Right, Caesar Wonder. Well, I think I answered that, Caesar Wonder. But again, if you go to the website, I know you'll be shocked when you see the before and afters, and people don't have any loose skin who lost really a lot of weight, okay? So I think, in conclusion, the most important function that we can have for all of you is to provide you an option, a place where you can go, where it's not based on hype. There's no one on the website. There's no celebrity endorsements. The only thing that's speaking for us, or we're speaking for it, is scientific proof based on peer-reviewed human trial studies. And for some of the new people, in case you don't know, in medical research, the highest you can go is a peer-reviewed human trial study. There's nothing higher. And there are 7, and for some of you, these are the major journals that these studies were in: Obesity, Nutrition, Frontiers in Nutrition, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. And this one just came out 5 weeks ago in Nature Communications, the #1 journal in the world for health and weight loss, etc. And what this study, what they proved was this protocol, see, that's why it's not a diet, massively increased the functionality of our gut. It's called the microbiome. As a matter of fact, that's one of the books I wrote. It's called Your Third Brain. I wrote it with one of the top oncologists in the world, a molecular biologist. But this protocol, which is not what we wrote about in the book, because the studies weren't even published. We didn't know this. But your microbiome is essentially your immune system in your gut. It also pretty much determines all of your emotions. So again, the main reason to do this is not to fit in your skinny jeans. So what did I tell you that it is? It's a quality of life system. It's a quality of life approach. It's a quality of life. Like I had said earlier, when the researchers who've been doing this for 38 years, thousands of people they've looked at, every diet you could name, they always said that the problem was that in every diet, every time, there were people that are called non-responders. It's a fancy name, meaning they went on the diet, they didn't lose any weight, nothing happened. They didn't improve their blood pressure, blood sugar, whatever. The research, and I just talked to the head researcher yesterday, and he said, Peter, the thing to point out to people is in these studies, we had no non-responders. In other words, there was nobody, that's never happened in almost 4 decades of research. But that's why we need to do a consultation with you. It's not just hey, we're going to show you, here's 3 recipes to lose weight. If you want to do that, there's plenty of people you can see on social media. And I don't fault them, and I'm not going to disparage them. I really think they're trying to help people. But unfortunately, they're basically telling you that you can make a phone call on a rotary telephone. I agree. But show me how to text on. I know that's kind of a crazy example, but I'm crazy anyway. That's what all my friends and colleagues and the people that work with me at the New Health Conversation. So, yes, it's very, very affordable. As a matter of fact, Jewel, to just try, follow up on that. You're only going to buy about 40% of the food you typically would buy from the grocery store. The other 60% would come from these, but you're really reducing your food purchases, because the one thing about this, it's not just you're buying 40% of the food, it's actually less than that, because the serving sizes are going to be smaller, because these other foods that come from all over the world have massive amounts of nutrition, which really make you full. But again, would you be excited if you could lose as much weight in 7 days as in 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on? Would you be excited if you could lose as much weight in 30 days as a year on any diet, instead of losing water or lean muscle mass, gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, by the way, with no exercise? And Jewel, they're not. Oh, wonderful, BG Reed. I appreciate that. Look, it's a benefit to all of you. It's a benefit. That website is for all of you. It's not going to change my life. And I promise, if you go there, I won't even know you went there. We did that on purpose. We don't want you to feel like we're coercing you or twisting your arm or selling you. It's way more important than that. And the only way you're going to know if it's worth doing a free consultation is go to the site, take some time, look at everything. The studies are there. The breakdown of the studies is unbelievable, before and after. And the before and afters on site, you'll see what do you see? Their medical changes. In 30 days. It's crazy. And I would never show it on TikTok because I'd get banned, okay? And the consultation's free. Yeah, somebody commented. There's no gimmicks to it. I know I've had people, how much is the free consultation? It's like, oh my gosh, are we that skeptical? Are we really that skeptical? Maybe we are, I don't know. But yeah, 50. Yeah, they're commenting on it because there are people on here, obviously, that have been following me, and it's pretty surprising for people, because I've had people say, "What is it, $2,000 a month?" No, God, no. It's very, very, very affordable. But 2 more things that maybe even give you more incentive to go look at the free consultation. Number 1, if you decide to do it, after you do the free consultation, number 1, you get a coach for free. And I mean free. And not somebody in 800 number, someone who's done it, who's been trained by me to do it. Okay. We have lots of very qualified people that are really devoting, the rest of their life to helping people. But the other thing that's really significant, Jewel was asking me about the price. Listen to this, Jewel. So the first 30 days, well, depending on what your goals are, you may or may not be done. You probably won't be done in 30 days, but whatever. But anyway, the fulfillment companies who supplied the 5 foods that come from all over the world, from as far away as Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, and Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, and New Zealand, nothing to do with me, they offer a 100% money-back guarantee with no questions asked. They'll even pay return shipping. You show me anything else on social media that offers you that type of an opportunity. It's really like, what are you risking? I know it's holding you back. It's your skepticism. But it's like, I know it sounds too good to be true. It's actually better than that. So in closing, I hope for your own sakes, you'll go to the website, take some time. There's tremendous, great information there, and see for yourself. If you want to know more, you can do a free consultation. We're not hiding anything from you. It's not like, well, we're going to tell you part of it. There's even a breakdown. It's a 20-minute video on walking you through, okay, here are the foods, this is what you do, this is why it's different, et cetera. But then we still need to line that up with what you want to do. So anyway, I hope you're all enjoying the rest of your Friday afternoon, evening, depending on where you are. I'm not AI. It's 2:16 in Denver, Colorado, meaning it's 4:16 in New York, and it's 1:16 on the West Coast. And I feel like I'm on a television show. Well, I guess this is sort of like a television show. So anyway, I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. And more importantly, is today Friday? Did I lose track of a day? Wow, wait a minute. Just trying to think about this once. Whatever day it is, enjoy yeah, it's Friday. I know it is. I'm sorry. I was thinking, I've been so busy today. It's just been crazy. So I invite all of you to go to the website. You can see it there, the New Health Conversation. And if you like what you see, sign up for a free consultation. So everyone have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll hopefully see you on another podcast. And I would appreciate it if you go to my TikTok. It's the New Health Conversation, and like it, okay?